Hello YouTube, this is Carl at BMX Guy. This is just a vlog update or post video of the MS-150. So this bike handled fine. I had a new tire on the rear and that barely even wore at all with that 70-mile ride. I just like having fresh tires for that ride, at least on the rear, but I bought a new front one for the next season. I have a new chain. This is a 46 tooth sprocket now versus 48 and a 14 again. So I have the 46 14 gearing because it's just a gearing I like. The 48 14 gearing just did not, it just didn't feel good. I have it still in the fixed gear because the fixed gear just makes it easier to slow down if it's gear harder, but it starts hurting parts to me that isn't right. And it's not the knees, it's other things that hurt. The chain that was on here might have had maybe June, July, August, and September. So we have 4 months of metric century kind of 100 ride. So that's basically about 250 miles, somewhere around there. Maybe 300 miles if you count other rides with the bike. So there was 300 miles in that chain. So that chain that was on there went on the other bike, the other 125R, the bare metal one that has the front and rear racks, the headlight, tail light, all that stuff I made videos about. And with the nice extension of another 3-speed driver, which came with a 3-speed hub set, I have the 3-speed driver that I got on that hub set on the other 125R now too, with a nice fresh 14 tooth cog on the rear. So that one still 4214 on that other bike with the new chain that was on this. This chain actually isn't called an X1 now, it's actually called an E1 because, you know, e-bikes are the rage lately, but it's basically the same exact chain as the X1. They're $40 at cost. When I say cost, I mean like if you bought them through a distributor, they're still about 40 bucks. So if you bought them from your bike shop, it's about $80 if it's Philly or New Jersey or whatever they do in bike shops to ream you from price. Other things about the bike, I was thinking of maybe changing these decals to have a kind of holographic kind of background, but that's just a project I'm trying to work on. Otherwise, the winter is coming and I'm just going to be using the other 125R or the Dayhan Uno for rides. So I got this new light. Just there's going to be a video about putting this on that Speed Uno soon. The idea is that the Speed Uno will have a headlight and tail light also. It has a dynamo already. It's just a silver dynamo versus black. It's a 3D30 but with bolt-on axle. Bolt-on axles are still the best way. I don't care what anyone says. Skewers can suck it. I'd rather have bolts like what you see on these hubs where they're into a center axle over just axle nuts, because you could just carry an Allen wrench with you versus, you know, a 15 millimeter. There are other projects I have in the future. I'm not going to say anything about that, but it's probably going to be a front wheel, but it can be a back wheel. That's the cool thing about that hub. I have it laced to this rim I bought spokes on Amazon with. It is heavy, yes, very heavy. And there are parts, I got torque parts. This is a drive plate for the side, so it can actually use a freewheel. This hub fits on the front forks of these bikes, just barely. I just gotta take these disc brake screws out so they're not rubbing on the fork. If I were to use a disc brake fork, I'd have to look for one. I don't seem to have any luck finding anything that's a rigid fork that's 20-inch with disc brakes. I can always have standard make a fork that has disc brake mounts, that has a normal BMX fork look versus like the goofy folding bike fork look I don't like. I'd rather have straight legs with the BMX dropouts like on that guy or this. V-brakes are probably easier to find But this is going to be going so fast, I don't really want to use V-brakes. I kind of want to use a disc brake that's hydraulic. But the rim someone had on a hub that I bought on these totem hubs like this one. This is the one that the totem hub that came with this replaced, but it's still okay. But I replaced it just for the sake of replacing it. There are other small BMX projects and things like that, but those I don't usually make videos of. You'll see them on Instagram if you see them at all. But the e-bike thing might be on YouTube soon, and that's because someone gave me this hub, brains, controller, wiring, and brake levers and stuff like that. So since he gave me them, that's the whole reason I have them. Because yeah, normally these motors are like $300. The computer might be another 50 to 100. And then you have a battery that's $300 too. I can't see spending that much money on this stuff. I don't even want to use it. I mean, I don't like spending any money on these. And then yeah, we got computers that I'm trying to build. I made a whole playlist of that, and I'm at a standstill because I don't feel like spending $600 on a processor. Now, I did want to get an AMD processor with DDR5 compatibility, but that's $600 too. It's like, I can't win with this stupid computer shit. Like, I want to have a top-notch computer. It's better than the 3930K box, and I can't do it because the prices are outrageous for this shit lately. It didn't seem to be that outrageous in 2010. Like, yeah, a video card that was a top-end video card was $400 in 2010. And then that one right there was $350, something like that, that 3050. And that's ridiculous. It's not even a top-end card. It's actually pretty much what the 550, 560 was back in 2010. They were only $150. It's just ridiculous how much it is, and it aggravates me a little bit. I mean, the computer case is probably cheaper than what they were back then. I mean, I think the 300s were $100, and then this one, that was like $100 too. I mean, everything else that isn't like a processor or video card, it's kind of still the same price. Like the motherboards are still $300. That's about right. But these stupid video cards and processors are just shit. Sorry, that's I have to say. And the computer market is completely a lost cause, I think. Like, they're trying to get people to spend more money or something. I don't know what they're doing. You see this phone that's being in the camera? This phone is a computer. It may have been $400 or $500 or something like that because it's the S20, and it's pretty much out of date. And like, it's already out of date. It's out of date right now. It's been 2 years since I got it. Computers used to be able to upgrade them every 2 years because they weren't that expensive. But this thing, it's ridiculous how the computer industry expects people to spend all this money on just a processor or video card when you got phones that basically are computers. That means you don't even need the computer at all just to play whatever. It's great and all to have the top end system for a game that you played since 2006 or 7, whenever it came out, whenever you decided to play it, which was like 2007 or 8. Right. World of Warcraft it started out as a GeForce 2 graphics compatible game where you're gonna need like 2 gigabytes to play it. Now it's like you have to have a 3080 to get top end graphics on a game that still looks the same basically as it did back then. I mean, it doesn't really look that different, and it shouldn't be that demanding because it's so old. Now what they should have did is came out with Warcraft or World of Warcraft 2 when Cataclysm came out, when they changed it a little bit, and then when Legion came out they should have made it World of Warcraft 3, and then now they should have made it World of Warcraft 4. Kind of like what they did with Diablo. But no, they can't do that. I guess people have to have, I don't know, their achievements and stuff in the game, so they can't lose that for each new expansion kind of setup. But who knows? The game is stupid. Anyway, this is just a vlog post about what I'm doing. This bike has been holding up fine, okay? I think the MS-150, it was cold, so I didn't really gauge it to be, I don't know, to really tell me anything. As far as compared to Speedwagon, the frame feels about the same. I don't know. I'm able to get the seat a little bit higher, right, with the extended seat tube, but when I did that ride, it was so cold I couldn't really figure out if I was feeling bad or good. I mean, when I got to the end, it felt good to get to the end, but I definitely could have rode a little bit longer. I mean, just gonna say that when I got to the end, it was only 97 miles, so when I got my t-shirt, the neck thing, and maybe got a hot dog, I was kind of ready to like maybe go back home, like just ride back, or at least ride up to Atlantic City and stuff like that, but I just didn't want to do that. But I easily probably could have, because that's how good I felt on the bike. I think the bike felt pretty good. As far as like other things go, I do like the idea of it still being lighter, but lighter doesn't necessarily mean the bike's very controllable. It didn't feel like I was going that fast the whole time, but when I got to the Century midpoint, it was probably about 9 o'clock, and that's probably earlier than normal for when I get there. I think the other year I did the ride, like when I was doing it consistently every year, it might have been other situations. Other than that, yeah, there are some small tweaks I like to do, and at the moment I think I'm fine with the way it's set up. The other 125R is going to be used for winter, so when I get back on this in March or April, which I just like using it when it's warm, it should feel much lighter than that bike when I get on it. Nothing is wearing out. I do want to get new profile rings for it, which I tried before with black, but yeah, I don't like the black powder coat. It just scratches too easily. That's the thing about powder coat. It's not as good as chrome. And the other thing about the black arms is that they don't fit tight. Now maybe that's why they are in back order. They're trying to figure out their machining of the arms or something. Because like these chrome arms, they're very tight, and they stay tight like for a long time. Like you can take them off and back on, and they're still hard to get on and off. Black arms not so much. They just go right on or go right off, even when they're brand new. And I'm thinking maybe that's why they're not being made lately. Maybe they're working on their machine work to get them the dies or the cutting tools actually at the right spec. Maybe that's the problem. They came up with these AC2 hubs I don't hear anything about in 2018 or 19, before the pandemic. And yeah, there's a couple videos about them from a guy in Australia, the racer guy. The problem is racing is not a longevity sport. It is, you use them one race maybe and you replace everything, or one season and you replace everything. So they're not really telling me the longevity of AC2 hubs on anything, anywhere. They're saying, oh, they're just a better design because they have taper bearings. Doesn't tell me after 1,000 miles how they ride, or if the driver disintegrates, or the fact that the driver is aluminum and is just a piece of junk. Aluminum drivers in general that they made for these hubs just exploded on people. And I don't really understand why they would go and use aluminum drivers on the lead hubs. It's great and all, you have more pawls that makes them want to brake even faster. After thousands of miles with any of those hubs, those spines, they wear out. The spines that are, you know, inside these hubs that the paws click against, that'll wear out. just after maybe one season. And since there's tiny little teeth on the Elites versus the Totem, they wear it even quicker. So that's the reason why I stay away from the Elites. I mean, I look at the design, I say, that ain't gonna last 1,000 miles. I'm only gonna get like one season. That's the problem with all that stuff. It's like, they make all the racing stuff just for one fucking season at the most. And the cogs are the same way. There's no real longevity there. And I kind of wish Surly made BMX stuff. If Surly actually made BMX parts, or like they would say, oh, our parts are for BMX too, then maybe they make BMX frames are nice. Just hitting Surly BMX race frame, all steel, Tange tubing or Reynolds stainless tubing would be freaking nice. Especially if it has a normal standover like this and not some retardedly low standover. And it's still steel, for example. And, you know, a Surly BMX frame would be pretty damn good. But they don't do that. They stick to the hipster shit with the, you know, I don't know what you call them bikes. The traveler things. Because, they don't really have mountain bikes either. They're kind of like goofball bikes. Commuter kind of setups for the most part. So, yeah. Anyway, this is Carl, that BMX guy, and thanks for watching this vlog update for October. It was kind of just more like a ramble, because that's all I ever did was ramble. But it's either a ramble to you or a ramble to myself, so I think I'd rather you hear it. And yeah, there's more videos on the way. I like making one-take videos like this. And the ones that take multiple clips are taking too much damn time. Anyway, yeah. So the next video is going to be about this. Just to make sure you know what it is. And yeah. Anyway, this is that BMX guy, and thanks for watching.